Halito Akana. Hello, friends. Chimichukma, how are you? The program is Red Hoop Talk. It is I, Jennifer Robin, and we have on deck the one, the only DC Queen of the Blues, Carly Harvey. Carly, welcome to the program.
Yo, hi. Thank you for having me.
So, there is a lot going on in Carly's sphere these days, right now, immediately, tonight, right? In 20 minutes.
Yes, a
So
lot.
I know we have you for 1 hour and 5 minutes, and I'm going to publicly dissect you the whole time.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Well, you and I are chums. Let's just full disclosure. I'm madly in love with this woman. And but we talk a lot very frankly on many topics. And I feel that even in this 2024 trying to be woke America, people still don't seem to understand the slave descendant and the indigenous descendant contribution to music as we enjoy it today.
Mm-hmm.
So I need you to give us a quick lowdown 101.
101. Okay. Well, I do teach master classes on this, so I won't give away everything, but basically, there's 13 colonies already. There's already people here, our people, and some of them, which they call civilized. There's 5 tribes, and they own slaves. Um, and eventually, they freed those slaves and then allowed them as a reparation to live freely in their space. So these people were intermarrying, making little Carlys, um, and making music. I mean, these people had access to hear native, like see ceremony, to hear stomp dance songs and watch it, and to hear that minor pentatonic melody, which grandly contributes to all native music. And one extra note is what we call the blues scale. So I teach classes about that. But I'm proud of my mixed heritage. I consider myself Afro-Indigenous or Black Native, either interchangeable, and I'm not denying one when I'm celebrating the other. Just that duality exists, and much like Creole people from New Orleans, right, or from Louisiana, Afro-Indigenous people are its own. We are our own group of people, which should be recognized and acknowledged. And I think uh, paper genocide should be acknowledged. We weren't all getting on the rolls, the specific roles we need for the documentation one would need to be enrolled now, and so which grandly contributes to even more indigenous erasure. It's just a different side of the indigenous experience. And yeah, so I teach classes at the collegiate level, and now I'm teaching in high schools and middle schools, just to get kids engaged in wanting to know the origins of blues, which is the root of all American music. So we wouldn't have rock and roll if it wasn't for blues. We wouldn't have jazz if it wasn't for blues. We wouldn't have soul if it wasn't for blues. And so this is Afro-Indigenous music. And another kind of angle I've taken is that I kind of like did a collaboration with a cumbia band. And in Latin America, there's like, where did cumbia originate? It's Colombia, or it's here or there. But um, from my understanding, cumbia has its roots in Colombia, and it also was born from Afro-Indigenous intermixed space. So this same scale is being used in almost the same form. So you'll hear like a song like Nina Simone's Feeling Good, right, which walks down from the 1 to the 5, and cumbia stays on the 1 and just moves to the 5, and we're using the same minor pentatonic melody. So with this cumbia band, they're called Cumbia Heights. We're gonna do like a blues cumbia collaboration. So it's gonna be like a new band project. Which, am I crazy? Yes, I'm crazy. Why would I start a new band? But you have to, because it's my heritage and I'm proud of it, and it's really good music. So
Well, let me slow your roll.
slow me down.
You gave me a lot and I dig it. So you talked about paper genocide and you talk about Afro-Indigenous. Now, Mississippi Choctaws, when slaves crossed the Mississippi River into our territory, we would keep them and marry them and make little Carlys. So the concept is not foreign to me, but I know that in part of the foundations of paper genocide, if you were one drop Negro blood, you weren't allowed to enroll in some cases. So what happens, what happens there? So it's
that's
very interesting.
That's just the iceberg of paper genocide, and not just for Afro-Indigenous people. Many of the Eastern Woodlands tribes, whether you were mixed with Black or white or not, I really dislike the term full-blooded, because it gives the idea that there's a supremacy and that one space is more valuable or valid than the other. But for all intents and purposes, we know this term, right? So if you're full-blooded or not, Eastern Woodlands tribes specifically, like some governors were like, let's declassify them as natives because we don't want to give them these benefits. You know what I mean? Like we just don't want to. And I think both in the outer world, like the outer society, and within our community, denying the truth of that sucks. Like, quite frankly, for lack of a better word, like, we know this happened. So, but
it's to diminish all parts for the sake of assimilation and a lack of accountability. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you celebrate both your parts, but are both your parts combined celebrated? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, do you feel this pressure to be more, like you have to be more blues if you look a certain way, or you have to go extra native with your message? Or do you see what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm throwing down? Help me.
Oh, yes, I am. I think I have, at this point in my life, I think in the past I have felt the pressure of that. Like, for example, I would say before 5 years ago, if you were my close friend and you saw me at powwows, you knew I was Native. But if you're my friend, you know who I am. I will talk to you about who I am. I've never been ashamed of it. But talking about it publicly, as I'm a musician and a public figure, it wasn't so much, because people say ignorant things like, they're like, I heard that you were 1/8, or I heard you were a quarter, I heard you were half. And I those things are traumatizing or triggering for a lot of people, not just me. And I just didn't want to deal with that. And I didn't want to deal with people saying, why don't you wear your regalia on stage? And I'm like, because my culture is not a gimmick. And so
leather is hot.
Right. Yes, it is. Deer hide is hot and heavy. But not only that, you have pressure from both sides of, like, I've had people say to me, well, you need to make a choice, Carly, and because you're a brand, you need to make a choice and figure out how you're going to brand yourself. And I'm like, ugh, like that it feels gross to hear that from people, or like you're just co-opting our culture to get point, you know what I mean? And so I just kind of kept it out of my world. And it wasn't until 2020 when I was newly divorced in the pandemic, quarantined by myself. And I had gotten a hand drum recently. And I just started playing it and singing prayer songs, and this ancestral something started coming out of me. I wrote a song called Human 2. It won me a WAMMIE and some other awards, but it's not about the awards. It was about, I think, my ancestors saying, hey, thank you, because you're finally aligned with your purpose.
Does the blues, okay, so you command a band, you're a band leader.
Yes, band leader, not a dictator, as someone might say.
But does the blues community that you, or even the jazz community that you run in, acknowledge the Indigenous contribution? Are they like, we invented all of it?
I think they don't know. And therefore, that's why I find purpose in what I do. Because I'm not like, this isn't yours. Because it is. It is music created from the Black experience, just with so much proximity to indigeneity that the contributions are undeniable. Like, there would be no blues shuffle without a stomp dance song. And we know those are, other Eastern Woodlands tribes have stomp dance songs, but the way the Choctaw do it and the way the Cherokee do it, it sounds like a horse galloping. And we won't have the blues shuffle without that. Where did they hear that from? That's not an African rhythm.
Well, and that was one of the first things outlawed as well. We were allowed certain things, but for some reason, stomp dance was scary.
It was so demonic, we were doing witchcraft around, or something crazy. But
let's be real though, if collectively Afro-Indigenous ancestors knew witchcraft, we wouldn't be in this situation today. So
I'll say publicly, I'm not a dabbler. I'm a practicer I'm a believer in the notion that the creator gave us herbs and crystals, and they are healing, and they're elements of the earth that possess specific energy, and they can impact our energy. Somebody might call that witchcraft. I call that native spirituality. I call it regular.
And that's the thing, like, okay. They had pagans. Europe had pagans, and they killed all their pagans because the pagans were the ones that paid attention to the earth and the cycles and the herbs and crystals and medicines and poisons. So, and that's weird to me too.
Why turquoise is so significant to us. There's a reason why white sage is so significant to us. You know what I mean? Like, it's our own form of, like, the elements of the earth that were available to us. But it's, that's culture, So maybe I dabble in a little bit of pagan stuffs once in a while, but
but it's not that's the thing. Like, it's not it's not a religion. It's a philosophy or a practice.
It's just your life. It's your way of life.
Yes,
just living every day.
So I had a conversation about that, and it came across awkward. Like, I had to justify why I am putting my bare foot in water when I go to a river for the first time, or there's this weird like explanation that I do that I don't like. So when you dictate your blues bands, because you're all over YouTube, carlyharvey.com has stuff. You're all over YouTube. Do you feel like you have to catch your bandmates up on who you are and where you're coming from, or do you just jump into the music, or do you have to, masterclass them a little bit?
I just jump into it, and I just am authentically myself. Whereas, like, so again, in the past, when it was like you had the honor of knowing who I am if you became close to me, well, now in the music, I really want people to be educated, but you have to educate people with love. And some of that is just existing as you are. So if let's say I have a sub who, like, my regular bass player isn't available, so I have a sub bass player, and I'll say things to the audience, and then after the show they're like, hey, you know what, I never knew that, or I didn't know about that, I didn't know Native tribes owned slaves, or you know, now that you say that, that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? And that's how you educate people. You don't
Okay.
have, I'm not going to get in anyone's face and be like, here now.
That's how I am. I'm like, you're gonna sit down and listen. I'm gonna say it one time.
Yeah. And
One
also
time.
so many different philosophies, like just like the origin of cumbia, the blues community has its own. The blues started in New Orleans, blues started in Mississippi Delta, blues started in Memphis, Tennessee. You know what I mean? And it's a dialect that's been my belief is that it's a dialect that was simultaneously created, and you hear it differently in different spaces. That's why we have Piedmont blues, and we have Delta blues, and we have that Chicago blues from the Great Migration, you know. But yeah, Afro-Indigenous people and Black people with access to hear Indigenous music and experience Indigenous culture, well, they couldn't create music that sounded African because they were going to be killed or beaten or something, right? And these colonizers, they were like, what are they singing? Wade in the water. Wade in the water is whoa. Like that is like just minor pentatonic melody, right? And it's a coded song, but it doesn't sound African. So they were like, must be from church or something. So some people might say, like, it's not even that serious. I'm like, no, it is that serious. And it's that beautiful too. It's that beautiful, you know.
So is the formation of blues into the modern music we have today, is that a result of resisting assimilation or kind of an embracing of assimilation? Is that too deep?
No, I think it's both, right? Because we've talked about this before. There's a certain type of blues that I don't get down with. That's the buck in your neck, Broadway blues. Like, that's why I don't like certain songs like Caledonia, because, yeah, there was, you know, colonizers were like, hey, that music they're making is mighty fine. Let's put on a blackface and imitate them. And then it was like, now that you're allowed to be on the stage, I want you to like hump your shoulders and buck your neck and step and fetch it. You know, like, Caledonia, what makes your big head? I don't like that stuff, but that's what people were doing to survive. They were musicians, they were entertainers, and in order to exist in the space that they loved, how can I, you know, get my recognition as a musician? I get why they were there, but the other side of blues is let's create something because caged birds sing. Let's create something because we need to resist. Blues was resistance. It was sexual. It was like, you know how many early women blues singers were talking about all sorts of stuff. I don't know how kid friendly this is, but
No, we can curse a little, but yeah, them songs were talking about body
okay.
parts and other
So
body
Lucille
parts. And
Bowden has a song. It's called Shave 'Em Dry. I mean, there was no FCC. There's nobody censoring this. So she said she was, you know, anyway, that's her song.
I like how embarrassed, how like red both of us are getting. Like,
I'm getting so
like
red.
nobody could even say like she nasty. She's your nasty aunt.
Yeah, because even
Dirty.
when you're oppressed, right, you have to find moments of joy. And that's what a lot of Black culture is. It's like finding, I mean, even breakdancing, it's like it's a form of resistance to oppression. Let me find something, let me create something that brings me joy, even out of this mud and muck. You know what I mean? That's why blues is so accessible to everyone. It feels relatable to everyone, you know, because to some extent we all feel some sort of like push down, some marginalization. And this is like, I'm going to sing about sex. I'm going to sing about how I wish I could get out of this jailhouse. You know, like, what's that song? Midnight Special. Just talking about the cops coming after. I mean, it sounds happy. Midnight special, shine down on me. That song's not a happy song. It's not,
That's funny.
but you're creating music that makes people feel seen and heard, and maybe they can be somebody else for a minute. So, and I don't know, like Ma Rainey had songs about her queer excursions. Also, there was no FCC, no one was censoring it. And it was so foreign to people, to the colonized mindset of like, nuclear family, right? They were like, what's she talking about? She took that woman home. What does she mean?
They're just
She
they're
said,
just trying to clean the kitchen together.
men, women, cause I don't like no men. She like literally said it in a song.
How do I make that a ringtone? Do you have an old record player?
I think I need to. So one of my groups, it's called the Honey Larks. We're like women behaving badly. So it's like a comedy, bad behavior women, but like badass women. And then we sing blues. And so we do this song, Prove It On Me Blues. It's my favorite to sing. And I'm thinking we should record it. And then it should be like
Yeah, we need it. We need a good anthem.
Yes, we can make a ringtone out of it.
We need a new anthem. So, when I mentioned you commanding a band, I guess it's if you start chanting a native vocable, I was worried that you were going to like scare somebody, like your trumpet player just starts crying and walks off or something.
No, you know what? And this is how I know, like, one, for me, I don't like put on stuff. So even though my bio says like I infuse Indigenous American styles in my music, I do, but I'm not going to native scat in every song if I'm not feeling it.
Bingo,
so
yes.
It's like a spiritual thing, and it just like riles up in me. And most people are not like that scary. Most people say, oh my God, you make me cry, you gave me chills. And I'm like, it wasn't me, it was my ancestors.
Yeah, see, I just take credit for it. I'm like, oh yeah, it was totally me. Shut up, ancestor. Let me have this
vessel
one
for some energy.
Right. If I wasn't listening, neither of us would be here.
I see.
Can you imagine? Sit down, Mina. It's mine.
Like, it's not scary to most people. It touches their hearts, and they are curious. And that's where true education comes in, when people ask questions as opposed to like feeling offended by it. And whatever, I call it native scat. It's like a jazz scat and then some native vocables, and then they intertwine or whatever they do. Whatever they do. I'll say. Yeah, most people are like, that was so interesting, what were you doing? Or that made me cry. And that's the most powerful thing, when someone says, I don't know what you were saying, I don't know what you meant, but it just made me weep, and I felt it was so beautiful. And ew, I'm getting too ew.
I'm having emotions, you guys. So okay.
My makeup.
So because we touched upon it, I didn't want this interview to be your typical I'm a musician on the radio interview, because I want people to fall in love with you as juicily and deeply and as passionately as I love you. So I just wanted to showcase that, like, she's not just a cute face, like she also has a soul or whatever, right? So look, she's got a brain, she's got a brain too. So it's too much for one woman. So we talked about your blending of blending. You have a new album that drops, and it's uber infused with that balance of indigeneity that you talked about. So the name, I'm gonna put a picture up. So the name of the album is in language.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so talk to me. Everybody can see it. Can you see it? Talk to me and say it phonetically for some of us.
Ka-ma-ma.
Ka-ma-ma. And what does that mean, and in what language?
Which Yeah, Kamama. It means butterfly in Cherokee or Tsalagi, which is what our dialect is called. And it's the uncolonized way to say Cherokee.
You're just undoing all that damage. So why? Why?
Undo.
Why name it anything in language?
Well, Kamama is my name. Actually, my name is Butterfly Dancer, but I when I was, I guess, conceptualizing the album, like I wanted to tell a story, and the truth is, it's my story, it's my transformation, and butterflies represent um, not only the freedom and the transformation, but what are you before you're free? You're in like a cocoon, and you have to be still and just wait and just be patient. And when your wings spread, they're just the most beautiful. And so the tree is kind of like the tree, like the artwork is all like, it's all like emotional and stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to make you sob. Do it.
Stop it. So yeah, so my name is in the roots. Like, the blues is just in my blood. It is woven into my DNA. So, and in that way, like, we're all connected. We're all a thread, like, to each other. We're all connected like threads. So I'm the roots, I am the tree. So that's basically the idea of it. But it's my transformation, it's my story. And the album actually arcs movement of blues derivative music. So starts out with me doing some native vocables, which I call native scat. So I'm scatting and doing my Carly-fied native scat over Delta blues. And then it moves into the Great Migration to Chicago blues. We have like upbeat, electric, boogaloo, Chicago style blues. And then it moves to soul blues and blues rock and blues funk and blues jazz, folk blues. And then it ends out at the end back to its roots in indigenous music. So I have he's a great artist. He was on The Voice. His name is Walking Eagle. So he's playing the flute and I'm responding to him with blues riffs, because also back in 2020 when I started native scatting, or however that was developed, I noticed that a lot of my inflections when I'm improvising were influenced by hearing like native flute music all the time, like the way I flip my note. That's I was like, oh, I'm a flute. I get it. Like, they're like, where are your influences? I'm like, oh, the flute. Yes. So I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of it, and I can't wait for people to hear it. And just because it's like cooking a really good meal for someone, and you're like, I can't wait for you to taste this because this is how I show love to you. That's what I feel. That's how I feel about it.
Well, there's you got this delicious intellect, and then you got this incredible talent, and then you got these deeply rooted cultural ties. So it's not like, it's what I've heard is, I feel weird. It's smart. Like, it's not just, so I'm afraid of jazz. Like,
No.
I'm more of a rocker through and through. So part of me gets confused and scared when you say native scat, because it's like, so like, can you give us like 10 seconds? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I need to like clear up because most of us, you say masterclass. Now I teach high school. Most of us are just like third grade music when it comes to vocables and pentatonic and scat.
Yeah. Okay. So, it's interesting. I mean, I think scat is just a different interpretation of vocables. And what we know vocables to be is like, aside from hearing aho a lot, that's like kind of a universal like thing. Like it's intertribal. Everybody knows what aho means, but otherwise, they're just sounds that carry energy because so many tribes were like forced together. We speak the same language. They were like, here you go, all y'all can talk. We didn't know what language they were speaking, you know. So these vocables are so valuable in that way because we can communicate energetically what we can't say with words. And scatting kind of does the same thing. So if you have a prayer song that's just vocables and you begin to scat, you're almost doing a different thing. Like when you're scatting, it's like your voice becomes an instrument and you can communicate energetically without words. And I mean, Ella Fitzgerald was the queen of scat, but you know, you can use any syllable you want. Do cool. And then like what if you have like a prayer song, I don't know, not words, you know, okay, so there's one my mom used to sing to me when I was a kid, and it's not in our language. I think it's like an Algonquian language. Gai yungi, gai yunga, ga ga yagi, yagi, gai yunga. So I think that's language, right? But what if we were just doing vocables? Oh, hey, oh, hey. So we keep the minor pentatonic scale there, obviously. Hey, 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 sweet day, you know what I mean? So they fuse a little bit.
They fuse wonderfully.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
no,
I thought
okay.
I thought scatting was just like scream singing like random notes over a walking bass.
Some people scat. Okay, wait. Sorry, a neurodivergent excursion. We shouldn't laugh at people, but there's this. if you want to learn to scat, you should listen to him and do not do anything that he's doing.
So your advice is watch this, but don't do that.
Yes, I mean I shouldn't put him on the spot, so I'm not gonna say his name. I'll tell you off screen, but he's like shra la la la. So like, you know, we don't want.
So you can't teach us how to scat, but you can teach us how not to scat.
Yeah, it's like reverse learning. I'm just cracking myself up. I'm so sorry.
You need to pull it together because we were on a roll educating people, and you just can't. I just called you smart. I said how talented you were. Like I just put you on this pedestal, and you literally are undoing it right now.
No, smart people have fun too.
Okay, so pull it. I mean, where's my other Carly at? This one's like about to run to the bathroom. Okay. All right. I just snorted. You made me snort.
Little dork, but then I'm like,
oh. Okay. So, Kamama. When you sent me a song a while back after a master. That song started with your native vocables and ended up in like big blues and horns and just so much noise and energy. What was that song? And talk about that journey.
So what I played for you, what I sent you, it was, and I hope whoever's playing it on the radio, this is how I want them to play it, which is really long, but to play Native Scat, which is the first track, immediately into Mino Woman. And when I perform it live, that's how I perform the song. And it's just like I said before, I love that it's representation of the indigenous roots in blues. So the Delta, where many believe blues started. So we're doing Delta blues with native vocables. Big ups to our Mississippi Choctaw. So, you know, coming from that space and the Great Migration, like you can hear the transition and it blends really well. And it's just a beautiful representation of the arc of the evolution of blues. So, and that's why I perform them in that way. And I'm telling you, like I said, the minute I chose to embrace my heritage and my music and publicly, everything started happening for me. It was like it was the missing piece. I was holding it back. I was holding it in because I was like, I didn't want to be misperceived or things like that. The minute I just let it go, I did a competition and I performed Native Scat into Me No Woman just like that. I did not win that competition, but I won everything you're supposed to get when you win. I didn't get to the finals, and the people who book the Big Blues Bender, this is the biggest blues festival in the world. It's 5-day blues festival in Las Vegas. This is big time dreams of mine. And I wanted to win that competition because I wanted to win a slot on the Big Blues Bender. That man saw me perform and just stand in my truth. And he called me and he said, the band who won is in France, there's 15 of them. We can't fly them all here. I want to offer you that spot. I won anyway, just because I was just authentically being me. So anytime I perform that song, I'm going to do it just like that. Not because there's something to win, but there's alignment to be had. Not just for me, but all people. The visibility of Indigenous people, the visibility of Afro-Indigenous people. There's a voice. There's something we contribute to society, to music, to art.
It's not just something to contribute. You have contributed to the foundation of this modern America. And I think part of the questions I ask, I'm thinking about the 13, 14, 15-year-old mixed race kid that kind of gets batted around, and you say, be true, be yourself. That's a very terrifying thing.
Yeah.
Being your authentic self means you could mess up, and you will mess up, and you will, it's,
yeah.
But I bring my authenticness to every program I do, because I know that's the only way people are going to connect is when I'm confused about scat with them, not at them. So how did you feel like you had to get permissions from Indigenous world to bring some of these songs forward? You know what I'm talking about? And a lot of in our realms, you give songs, you get a song, you ask permission to do a song, and then there's 10 people say yes, and there's one that's me about it. Or is being that authentic self, like giving yourself permission because you are bringing it in a good way?
I give myself permission. My ancestors give me permission, and that's really all I need, honestly. Like, I've got a football team of my ancestors who are like, we are here protecting you. Nobody's going to try it. So, and I don't sing other people's songs. So anything I create or I conjure up from the earth or from my ancestors, it's really just coming out of me. I don't sing other people's songs. Obviously, there's like a Cherokee morning song, Wendeya, oh, 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 hey, oh. Those are songs everybody knows. So,
Layla.
But I don't sing those songs at my shows. I do sing them occasionally when I'm teaching a class, because that Cherokee morning song, that's in a major pentatonic, which there is a major blues scale, which people don't know about. Still one note difference. That's a whole different thing. I like to focus on the minor blues scale because that one is interchangeable. You can use the minor blues scale in a dominant major blues or a minor blues. So it kind of becomes this universal thing. But anyway, I do occasionally sing, traditional songs in a teaching setting. But when I'm performing, our culture is not a performance. So I don't do that. With the exception of, I did a Joanne Shenandoah tribute, and I did sing a couple of her songs. But otherwise, so I don't need any permission because it's coming from me, it's coming from my ancestors, and that's that.
Well, and she gave me permission to sing a few songs, Miss Shenandoah, and then I'm like, I can't because you did it better. But it's just interesting learning this because again, we don't want to come across disrespectful.
Right.
But we have a very unique experience as Americans, but also as BIPOC, mixed, indigenous, it's just so I feel like a lot of us spend many years paralyzed doing this weird 1 step forward, 2 step back, 1 step right, 2 steps back, just this weird little like cha-cha because we don't want to hear comments everywhere we go.
Okay. Yeah. I think, yes, there's definitely a way to be respectful. But the way to be respectful is not mutually exclusive with holding your head down and keeping your mouth closed. Like, you be quiet because you're unworthy. Because again, we've got this supremacy, the superiority thing, right? You're a mixed blood, so what you have to say is less valuable. How you feel is less valuable. Your words are less valuable. That's just not the truth. And so we can definitely be respectful because I mean, I just, but I think that what some people consider respect can vary. Some people would like,
Well, I don't feel entitled.
I agree with the notion that respect is shutting up.
Yes, but I also don't feel entitled to this song or that vibe or that thing or, ooh, I like it. It's mine now.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely not. I don't feel entitled. I feel grateful that I'm disconnected ancestrally, that I have access to be able to express myself through my culture and through both of my cultures. And I mean, the same thing exists for blues, right? It's created from the Black experience in the United States of America. And all we have to do is acknowledge the creators and where it comes from and not feel entitled, but feel honored, to have reverence for the people who created it,
Well, I think an example of that is When the Levee Breaks, that we all know, by Zeppelin. It was written by Memphis Minnie. Minnie in 1929, and Zeppelin covered it, but the blues roots and the honor for the blues that Zeppelin had shows through. That I've heard them talk about this story. It's a messed up story. Great flood, many people died. My ancestors disappeared, few of them, so I feel like that is a respectful interpretation of that sound, vibe, time, and place.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and eventually Led Zeppelin did start giving credit to the pioneers of blues. At first they weren't, but I think they jumped on the bandwagon with Rolling Stones. But then there are many others who never did, like, Cream.
Well, they were like broken up by the time I was born, so I only read my Rolling Stone and Guitar World magazines in the late 80s, early 90s when they were like, oh, we totally get it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the Rolling Stones were always acknowledging their blues influence, but Led Zeppelin wasn't, the Beatles weren't, Eric Clapton certainly wasn't. So many mixed feelings about Eric Clapton. Because that song, Layla, man, I really love that song. I'm like, dang, man, why do you gotta be awful, man?
Yeah, I like Derek and the Dominoes, Bell Bottom Blues, like there's stuff. But no, it does feel appropriated, even with hip hop. and people grabbing hip hop and just doing it gross and wrong. Look at breakdancing at the Olympics and Ray Gunn. Just that's what cultural appropriation looks like without understanding and honoring and sinking into what you're trying to bring to the table.
Like we're never gonna forget it.
I'm fascinated.
It is very fascinating. Like, I think maybe when she's got to do a lot of healing, this has to be traumatic for her, and I'm very empathizing because I think that
gross.
She had good intentions, but it was so insulting, you know. So like I said, even breakdancing is a form of resistance. You're resisting the oppression. You're finding joy in the middle of the muck. And what a, like, you know, I start to feel this way also about blues, where people are like, oh, it's just easy. You're just shouting a lot. They're just screaming. So you think there's no artistic technique. Like, you think Coco Taylor was just screaming and therefore anybody can do it. That's why it feels relatable, because like, you're just hooting and hollering and shucking and a jiving. And it's like, whoa, this is art. There's a technique to acknowledge. And poor Reagan, and I think she has good intentions. She teaches classes. She wants to but yeah, if you don't,
I don't know. See, I can't with the intentions. I have had
the road to hell was paved with
so many non-Indigenous people cry at me because their intentions were good, even though they just acted. So I don't know. I don't do well with intentions. Like, you get one on me, but making it all the way to the Olympics, like, no, like somebody should have said no. And
yeah. It was,
they should have listened.
It was insults. It's like I'm very insulted when I hear singers like, you know, Mama treat your dollar mean. Like, I'm like, ew, why are you singing like that? Like, that's your interpretation of what that sounds like. And I think Reagan is the equivalent. Like, she might as well, like,
I know.
What do you think is happening here, ma'am? But
I don't even break dance, and I was offended. So
the I have is like, I mean, I acknowledge it. Doesn't excuse it. I empathize with
she acknowledges it. Okay, so Carly, I want to take 40 seconds and play a promo, and then we're going to use the last 15 minutes that we have and go hard and promote that album. Now that people know you're just a delight, and now we can get to the whole radio, like, buy my album and do stuff and support me. But now they know, oh my God, she's so smart and pretty. And okay, here we go. We'll be back.
Join the Everything Back movement and purchase a Cultural Sovereignty Protector shirt today. A Cultural Sovereignty Protector is an advocate who is working to create a world where diverse Native cultures and values are lived, protected, and respected. Cultural sovereignty means having control over those things that make us who we are as Native peoples. Everything Back is our movement to return those things that make us who we are so that we can heal. Purchasing one of our Native-designed limited edition shirts demonstrates your commitment to human rights and equality. Visit indian-affairs.org to check out all of the colors and styles in stock today.
Everything Back.
Okay, so we also have, I think, on deck at some point, Red Hoop Talk t-shirts. So we'll do a little plug for that. Okay, so Carly Harvey, you have a new album that drops in like mere minutes, mere days. Talk everything Kamama.
Okay, so Kamama is being released August 25th, which is also my birthday. And so we're gonna have a big birthday party, album release party. And I'm so excited. I've got t-shirts and merch. We're being printed on vinyl, but vinyl is what do you call it? It's not back ordered, but it just takes a while because a lot of artists are printing on vinyl now because it's like It's really cool. Yes. So album release, if you're in the DMV area, is at a place called Earp's Ordinary in downtown Fairfax. And it's on Main Street, and show starts at 6. So we're going to play the whole album beginning to end.
Wait,
And
you
then
have to work, you have to perform on your birthday?
I get to present music that I have been working on for years and years.
Okay.
My birthday. I get the privilege, the honor.
You're such a good person. I'd be like, no, I'm not doing anything today. You guys perform my album for me.
No, when I was a kid, the first day of school, because we're the time of year my birthday is in, if the first day of school was on my birthday, I would just say, I'm not going to school on my birthday.
Okay.
Mom's like, no, you have to go. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not going. I refuse. And I never did until my first year of college was on my birthday. And I was like, but no, so this isn't work to me. This is a bouquet. It's the flowers. It's the fruit of my seeds I've planted. So this link here, you can get tickets.
So Afton tickets, but okay, so carlyharvey.com.
Yeah, we
Let's
can go to
start there.
All the links should be there as well.
But your past music, so instead of pre-ordering an album, you pre-save an album. I don't know how media works anymore.
It's the streaming thing. It's the streaming world. We're modernizing. We are. Well, it's really cool. It's because I have a very old soul, right? So I'm like retro and modern at the same time. So it's kind of the same thing. We're printing on vinyl and we're doing all the modern bells and whistles. So you can pre-save it in your Spotify, and then the day it's released, it just appears there like magic.
Okay, but what about Bandcamp? Does Bandcamp do albums still? If I want a CD?
Mm-hmm. So you can physically order the CD through Bandcamp. I wouldn't recommend that. I'd recommend coming to see me live as I start touring in October. So you can go to carlyharvey.com for my lineup, and I would buy a CD in person, and then I can autograph it. And when I have vinyl, I'll be selling vinyl live at the shows as well.
Can I just send you $20 and have you do all the work?
Sure, you can send me money, and I will mail it to you. And
it's hard. We can't just all show up where you are. I'm all mad about it. I'm angry that. So, okay. How do you, and I don't want to waste too much time here because I want you to kind of talk us through some of your favorite songs a little bit, but how do we support? I used to show up at Tower Records the day a CD was released or an album was released, waiting at the door to buy my Megadeth or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we support you as an artist these days? Is it with the streamings, or is it with the vinyl, or
physically coming to shows and physically buying merchandise supports musicians? I will say this about Bandcamp though. So what I was saying was, don't try and buy a physical album from Bandcamp, but if you want to digitally download it, that helps artists a lot more. Obviously, yes, listen to it on Spotify, listen to it on Apple Music, or whatever your streaming preference is. But Bandcamp gives us 90% of the sales, the digital sales. So if you were to download one song, I get 90% of that. And then they have a special day on Fridays where we get 100% of it. And there's an option for you to give whatever you want to. So my album digitally is $9.99. You could say, I want to support Carly, so I'm going to give her $40. And you can do that on Bandcamp. If you can pay me $40 for the digital download of my album.
Okay. So we got about 10 minutes. I'm going to put the album cover up. Now, talk us through some of the highlights and why should we set an alarm for 8:25 and get to downloading?
Because it's really good music. I mean, not just because I cooked the meal myself, not just because it's my music, but I did co-produce it. My producer is Mark Kenneth Williams. He is so amazing. And I just think we made a really great record together. And I think that it's, in all this, I'm talking about honoring the roots. It still feels very modern. It's good music, and I think it's relatable to everybody, even people who think they don't like blues. You know, I think there's something for everyone on this record. So, you know, I mean, I have some favorites, but then I'm like, oh no, but that other one's my favorite. Oh, I really like that. It's just, especially it's like, it's a smorgasbord for the eclectic music lover, because you'll be like, I like folk music, so I like human too. Or you might say, I like rock, I like blues rock, I like Let Me Go. Or, you know, I like all these indigenous interludes Carly has on the album.
I'm a blues rocker.
Yeah, so I mean, and then there's a lot of blues funk. My dad was a funk bassist, and so a lot of my songs are written from bass lines that
I like to get funked up. Yeah.
Yeah, that he I can't say he wrote them, but he put them in my head while I was sleeping, and then I woke up and wrote a song from it. So the songs She Ain't Me and Worth Waiting For, I would, you know, if you could give credit to a spirit, I would say they were co-written by my dad. And
That's neat.
Worth Waiting For is like, he's like very heavily in that like production of it, where hits should be, where the instrument should lean, where there should be a break, and we do a little homage to him with a really nice bass solo in that song. So if you like funk, you'll like it. If you like rock, you'll like it. If you like jazz, there's a little sexy blues jazz number on it as well. And then for Etta James lovers, like the classic soul blues sounds, there's some of that there. A little nod to James Brown too. So yeah.
So what I'm getting at is there's like no reason for you not to just give it a gander, to give it a listen, to do the deal. So we have a comment section here in StreamYard, and before I let you go, when you sang for us, Ryan said thank you for that. That was fantastic.
Aww.
We have JD from Colorado, just listen to Bad Bad Girl and so excited for the album, says you're magic. Bryn says thank you for sharing your voice. And JD also said, Carly, I have your music as background music. So you got
Sweet.
You got some fans out there. And that's what I wanted. I don't want buy my stuff and listen to me and look at me. I'm an artist. I don't like that, right? And so I really just wanted to slow things down and let people just it sounds so much better and juicier and funkier and soulfuller when you know the person, right? Soulfulier. So you know what I'm saying. But it comes across, it hits different when you know the person behind that microphone. And we just love you. And we are all just so excited for this album. Give us the details again.
For the album release?
All of it. Let's walk it through. We've got 5 minutes.
Yeah. So releasing on streaming platforms August 25th, also my birthday. So you can get it on Bandcamp. You can listen to it on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, all those things. And all of those things help, but the best way to support me financially is to come in person to a show and get a physical copy of vinyl or CD. So birthday party, we're gonna have cake. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have cake. There's a special Carly-fied drink, which when it comes to Carly-fied, it's when I put my special touch on anything. So it's a cocktail that is basically my favorite drink. So you'll have a Carly-fied drink, you'll have some kamama cake, you'll learn a little bit about Native culture, you're gonna hear blues, blues funk, blues rock. It's gonna be performed live. I'm probably gonna cry a lot, but yeah.
That is huge. So, okay, talk to me because I'm an old lady.
For the Grammys, so.
Okay, let's talk Grammy real quick. So you're submitting, you as a BIPOC woman started your own music label to submit this album. You have until the 30th to submit this to the Grammys. So we're talking not NAMMYs. Wait, what? You sent it?
No. In the industry, the label has a little bit more time, but the individual, like independent artist, has until the 30th.
And will you update us through all of that process?
Yes.
Also, I've already weaseled myself into your entourage when we do attend the Grammys.
Oh, well, we did it together because you're like,
I'm Weasel.
I think we might be cousins. We're gonna figure it out, but
we are. I feel it. So carlyharvey.com, that seems to be the hub for all of it. So right now, if I went to Spotify, would I just put in Carly Harvey and then like pre-follow, pre-save? Like how do
there is a link on the website and on my social media. So all my socials are Carly Harvey Music. So there's links to pre-save on my socials and on the website. But yeah, you can listen to all of my music, including this really cool crossover project I have with an Italian producer. So it's not blues or jazz at all. It's just like kind of chill out EDM. So that even pops up on too. So you just type in my name, Carly with an L-Y, no other letters, Carly. Yep, that's what I look like.
So will it just pop up? Because I'm following you now. So will the new album just pop up on 8/25?
The new album will just pop up.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. I'm like, I need this on auto. I want to wake up and hear your album and do the thumbs up and gush over you.
In New England in October, I'll be doing Indigenous Peoples Day Rocks in Stowe, Vermont on October 8th, October 5th. And then on the 8th, I'll be at Tufts College doing another Indigenous Peoples Day program. So I'll be in New England beginning of October, and mid-October, I'll be in the Midwest in Kansas City. And then at the end of October, I will be in the Pacific Northwest. So my fans everywhere can get me, and I will bring my CDs and my vinyl on the plane or drive. I drive to New England. So I'll have vinyl with me and I'll drive up with it. So you can physically get copies when you come see.
Well, and you can take a peek on your YouTubes and watch the magic of you commanding a band. You know, just the presence. There's a lot of responsibility with them. Who we've seen when they come hard, it's not a meek position being a blues singer.
No, it's not. I don't take that lightly, but I'm having fun. I'm kind of like the James Brown.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
find Portland eagerly awaits your arrival.
What's that?
Portland eagerly awaits your arrival.
I can't. That's like my second home. It's like my second hub.
We could Golden Girls there in 20 years. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we could
do that.
That could work.
Figure it out.
Yes.
Well, Carly Harvey, I cherish you. I feel like we could talk for 3 more days straight.
Totally.
On the all of it's and the everythings. But happiest birthday. Congratulations on the new album. And I want people to send feedback. I want ats and hashtags and heck yeses all around, and I'll be following you or liking you or whatever you do to you on the streaming websites.
Oh, especially the socials. Please encourage people to follow me on the socials because I'm getting a sponsorship from my microphone, and they will give me more equipment the more followers I have. So, and that also helps with sponsorships with other like the guitar companies, all sorts of things. So follow me at Carly Harvey Music on Instagram, especially, but also on Facebook and also on TikTok. I'm also on Twitter X, but that one, yeah. So do those other big 3. And
well, I'm so delighted, and I'm just so amazed by you, and I am just honored to be here riding your coattails and just watching you not blow up, but you're stepping into things, if that makes sense. This isn't I don't know, like you're onto something, and I dig it, and I will be in your bushes stalking you for an autograph.
Thank you. Now, when I make my way down to,
I'll meet you in Portland.
Coast. Oh, meet me in Portland. Yes.
Bryn posted in Portland. So apparently, like we're gonna stay at her house. She don't know it yet. Whatever, right?
Set up camp. Get ready, Bryn.
If Bryn is eagerly awaiting us, she can eagerly await to feed us for 3 days or whatever.
She's a very good cook. I know her personally. She's one of my friends, and she's also.
I just live on air, like we're turning your house into an Airbnb. Oh yeah, I have a dog.
Here we come. Well, I've got 2 cats. You have 3 cats and a bear, and
well, it's a blues program / petting zoo.
yes, it could be a great tour.
Well, I hope Bryn answers your call after this. Sorry.
Like, Carly, why would you do that? Do not invite a bear to my house. It's a baby bear. He's so cute.
Oh, Lord help us. All right. Well, you have a show tonight. Thank you so much for your time. CarlyHarvey.com, Carly Harvey Music across the socials, 825, new album. I'm going to be played on Resilience Radio. And I'd like to have you on in the future too, and just talk about how much you have accomplished as a BIPOC woman in the music industry. That's a whole story on its own. And you are just one bad mamma jamma.
Oh, thank you. Well, I love you dearly. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure and an honor. And I can't wait to come back.
All right, girl. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Well, I hope you liked it. I liked it. We had some technical issues. I don't understand the world. Obviously, I had to have her walk me through. How do I listen? How do I support you, Carly? How do I help you? So we did it. Carly Harvey. This will be available forever here on the YouTubes, but also Red Hoop Talk is on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, and a whole bunch of other random places for you to enjoy. And do us a favor, tag the association or tag Red Hoop Talk, tag me, Jennifer Robin, as we share things and learn together. Bryn, I'll be cool. Like, I'll just camp in the backyard. Just let me use your Wi-Fi and it will be fun. All right. Well, it is that time of the week where we hop out of the hoop. And until next time, I'm Jennifer Robin.